We'll call the meeting to order. I'm Chair Richard Turbin.
Can you use the microphone?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start the meeting. I'm Chair Richard Turbin, and let's start with Sylvia, and we'll introduce ourselves.
Aloha. Good evening. My name is Sylvia. I'm in Subdistrict 4.
Colin Fujiki, Subdistrict 1.
Aloha, Brian Wong, Subdistrict 2.
Pedro Haro, Subdistrict 1.
Anson, the NA.
Okay, and do we have chair members? We have, we have board members remotely. Okay. All right, no other board members here. Well, we have two people sitting in the audience here. President?
Hi, I'm Lee Castengay. I live in Subdistrict 2.
I'm Kevin Wong. I live in off 22nd.
Good evening, Derek Maeshiro, Mayor's Representative, Deputy Director, Department of Customer Services.
Okay, thank you all. And those who are on remotely, you can probably introduce yourselves when it's your turn to speak, and would be happy to acknowledge you. Okay, so now it's time for the city-state monthly reports. We have a representative of the Honolulu Fire Department with us. All right, nobody yet from the Honolulu Fire Department? Okay, then we'll go to the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, aloha, Lieutenant Taro Nakamura.
You can speak just a little bit louder, Lieutenant.
Um,
Thank you.
Okay, these are the
Better.
stats for January as compared to the previous month. Motor vehicle thefts were 5 as compared to 4. Burglaries were 6 as compared to 7. Thefts in general remained the same at 17 and 17. And UEMVs, which is theft from autos, it went up 22 as compared to 12. This is out of total calls of service, so 6,719 for the district. And further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month is just a reminder about scams. They're ever present. A lot of them have turned, or the more notorious ones these days are all internet based. So common sense, use a VPN if you can. When you get emails, and everybody gets a lot of emails, if you don't recognize the sender, do not open up any attachments. And of course, if somebody calls you and they do the old school phone thing and they're asking to pay your HECO bill with gift cards from wherever, that's a scam. Please do not do that. If you can just a lot of things are common sense, but they'll never go away. But if you know what to look for in advance, hopefully you can steer clear of all these scam type operations. And that's our safety tip for the month.
Just add IRS and government agencies very rarely, certainly IRS will never call you. So if you get a call from someone that says, oh, from the IRS or the Social Security Administration, you know it's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions for Lieutenant from board members? Sylvia? No? Okay. Any questions for Lieutenant from neighbors and people remotely? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. John?
Yeah, Chair, I
Go ahead, John.
I had one thing to add. I recall you asking for checks on the homeless people at the beach. Waialae Beach and then the Kahala Beach Park area. So we were
Yeah, okay.
actually we went out. We've been going out almost pretty much every day at about 10 o'clock, and that sorry 2200 at night, and they've been encouraged to leave that area, but then again they can always come back. But we've been following up on that. So there were only basically two people that are stubborn, but we'll keep working on that, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant. I was going to say, yeah, I don't, I don't want to complain at every meeting, but there were two
Yeah.
tents on Kahala Beach. One
Yeah.
about 100 yards, 100
Yeah,
yards
that's a
west.
difficult thing. Yeah, I know about the tents. We can cite, but it's not within our purview to um not get rid of, but not dispose, but take care of that situation because of little bit touchy issues of personal property versus is it thrown away versus a lot of things. But we are trying to do our side of the thing, and if the tent, for example, is not uh if not if there's nobody inside it, we will ask, and we have been asking, um, like parks and stuff. Hey, can you on your next? They do a rotation of different parks, but you have to understand they do the whole island, so it's they can't be there today tomorrow kind, but we can ask them to, hey, can you run by Waialae Beach Park and address that issue. So we've been following up on that, sir.
Well, thank you. Please follow up. I was just going to report that, I saw two, one about 100 yards west of the Waialae Beach Park, and then about another 100 yards continued west. I did call HPD and report it, I think last weekend. But interestingly, I went to the beach, and when I walked for about half an hour. When I came back, the tent 200 yards west of the Waialae Beach Park was gone.
Mm.
The person was gone. But the other one, the 100 yards west, there's actually a wooden structure that's been built next
Mhm.
to the tent. So I'm wondering if the building department can come and cite them for illegally building a structure on the beach. But just a thought.
Yeah.
But I understand your difficulties, and we really appreciate HPD monitoring the area, and that can only be an improvement. So thank you.
Okay, sir.
Any other, what about Diamond Head? Are you folks also monitoring Diamond Head Beach?
Yeah, so what we've been doing is we've been right when the the bewitching hour, we've been trying to hit all the parks at the same time. Now, of course, this is staffing permitting and depending on what kind of case we might be having at that time. But if we do have enough guys, we're hitting them all at the same time, so they just don't go from one park to the other, to the other, to the other. Again, that's how we've been trying to address it as far as the night watch is concerned.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. I know you have your expertise and, and you know what you're doing. Any other questions or comments from board members for Lieutenant? Okay. What about people on remotely or residents? Any questions or comments for
Yes,
John?
this is
John, you're
White.
still on.
So, Lieutenant, two of our neighborhood watch members received the scam calls, and both were claiming to be from HPD. And one claimed to be his name was Lieutenant Michael DeCenzo. and we found out there is no Michael DeCenso. So we've instructed our members just to hang up. Don't, these are scams. And regarding the tents on the beach, I learned that from the ocean to the shore break, that's DLNR's responsibility. But from the shore break to private property, that would be the city and county, HPD can be called. And then
Yes.
private property, if it's on private property, the owner of the property has to file the complaint.
Yes.
And like
There
you
are
said,
certain, there are certain, can be very touchy, jurisdictional issues on top of, a rather unique, not unique, but, yeah, a little bit unique Hawaii law, which gives, a right to go to the beaches for everybody. So access to the beaches. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are
and
in
like you
play
said,
that need to be
if it's a
tread
person,
lightly.
we call
Yeah,
HPD.
yeah,
But if it's just property, then we gotta call the
yeah.
Department
If
of
it's on private
Facilities
property,
Maintenance.
then and that can be the hard part now, of course. Uh, this neighborhood is notorious for can for issues with absent owners
Yeah.
over the years. If you recall those bad days.
And then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last item I have
There's
is,
a lot of technical issues that can that are in play here.
okay. And the last item I have is, in the last 2 weeks, so February in sub-district 3 and 4, we've had one motor vehicle theft, two regular thefts, and then two vehicle break-ins. So that's the last 2 weeks in February.
Yeah, when I looked up because there was a spike from 12 to 22 this past month, and according to our statistics, it does seem like it's on Kahala Avenue and the
Yeah.
lookouts, which tells me well, there's two things at play. We were running operations out in Hawaii Kai. So those auto thefts and theft from vehicle numbers went drastically down. But if they're not over there, they're someplace else. So
Right.
unfortunately, there might have been some bleed off from that. And also there were a number of cases where there were theft from autos where the vehicles were left unlocked. So if there's one thing that we can highly encourage, which might help cut down on theft from autos, is please lock your doors. It's not the old Hawaii. You need to lock your doors for your
And
cars.
hide your valuables.
Yeah, and to hide them or just don't bring them if you're going to go surfing or whatnot. Just don't bring them. Yeah. But
Thank you, and that's all I have.
Lieutenant, the board received a couple of complaints about the 1342 Hoakoa Street. I was wondering if you had any information on that. Are going to understanding of that?
I'm not personally aware. What is the street name? Oh,
Hoakoa, 1342 Hoakoa. It sounds like we have 3 complaints in our file regarding I guess homeless and suspicious and potential drug activity happening within the carport and within the house. And I guess there was, yeah, so we do have 3 complaints submitted to the board, as well as I think most of the other people that are of around there, right? So management companies that are around there, City Hall, neighborhood board, including us. I think Tommy Waters potentially received it, the governor, the mayor. So I think it's been distributed to most of the entities. I was just wondering if there has been any update. Apparently police have been called over there several times throughout last year and this year. And was just wondering if you had any understanding or visibility of that.
I'm not personally aware of any issues regarding that address, but I can look it up and try to see. I don't recall anything off the top of my head, so I wouldn't want to say anything without looking into it. But I'll definitely look into it and I can get back to you folks at the next meeting.
I had a quick comment for Lieutenant Nakamura. Lieutenant, we've been doing the restoration over at Ocean View Cemetery between Zippy's and the public storage over there. And I just wanted to thank the men working under you. I think it was Officer Troy. But we had some issues and called the cops, and the cops were there within, I think, about 45 seconds. You guys sent 2 squad cars over, were able to catch the guy who was kind of going through some of our equipment on site. And it was just overall, this was kind of later in the evening, around 10:30 p.m. And your guys were on site. They actually caught him. They predicted where he was going to be running to, met him on the other side, and had him caught on the other side. But I just wanted to thank you and your men for the responsiveness that we were able to directly witness for me and my company. It was really lovely to see, and overall a very positive experience. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, that would be Officer Troy Cadota.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's worked this area a long time, so I mean,
He was very
think like
knowledgeable.
a
Kind
crook
of
to catch
told
a
us
crook.
where the problem areas were, what to look out for. Just like you said, very knowledgeable. So please send my direct thanks to him. He was lovely to deal with.
Will do, sir. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments for Lieutenant? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, Lieutenant, and we appreciate your help on the beaches and elsewhere. Okay. All right, we'll go to Board of Water Supplies. Board of Water Supply here.
Yes.
Lorna?
Hi, good evening.
Okay.
Hi. Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Lorna Heller, from the Board of Water Supply. Very quick announcement for this month I have. Just first of all, let's talk about the main break. There is one on January 5th on Kilauea Avenue. That was a 12-inch main. The announcement I have this month is that we do have a $100 toilet rebate for limited time only. I did mention a little bit last month. So the Board of Water Supply is providing its customers with a bigger offer of a $100 rebate on a WaterSense labeled toilet, which is a 1.28 gallons per flush or less. And this is more than double the usual rebate amount and is only offered for a limited 90-day period through April 18th. So this special rebate is limited to 4 per household. And then if your commercial customers, is limit is 10. And if you want more information on this, you can go to our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/rebates. That's my announcement I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for board members for Lorna? Okay. Any questions from residents, visitors, people with us remotely? Okay, well, thank you very much,
Okay.
Lorna.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. All right, now our next item is filling of vacancies. There's one vacancy for Sub-District 2. And I believe we have a possible candidate in the House. Would you care to take the microphone and introduce yourself and
Hi.
and let us know.
Working here?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
My name is Lee Castongay. I live up on Hollycourt Drive in Sub-District 2. I am retired right now. COVID kind of retired me. My background consists of mostly IT management, mostly in hospitals and doctor's offices and HMSA, places like that. Was heavily involved with, electronic health records, e-prescribing. Did a lot of advocacy work, both here in the state legislature and in Congress. Also did advocacy work for the Alzheimer's Association. So I've been sort of involved in politics for a while. I used to be the chief of health information systems at the Department of Health. So that's an overview.
Okay, and you're willing to serve as a neighborhood board member?
Yes, I am. I talked to some of the other board members earlier and got a good idea of what's about. So yes.
Okay. Would anybody like to nominate Lee to be? Okay, thank you, Brian. We have a second. Okay, thank you, Sylvia. Any other candidates out there who wish to serve as a neighborhood board member for Subdistrict 2? Okay, well, being none, I guess we'll close the nominations and we'll take a vote. Well, I guess we should probably do a roll call on this.
Yes, we have to do a roll call.
Okay. All right, we'll start with Sylvia.
Yes.
We have to say his last name.
Lee Castonguay, in other
Yeah.
words. Okay, so you're in favor of Lee Castonguay?
Castonway, yes, please.
Okay, Peter?
Lee Castingay, where I come from, yes.
Okay, that's all right. Lee Castonguay, yes, from Rich Turbin.
Colin Fujiki, yes.
Brian Wong, yes.
Christian De Quevedo, yes.
Got one more?
Say his last name, right?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, his last name is?
Yeah.
I don't even remember his last name.
Lee Castonguay.
Lee Castigway, yes.
Okay,
One more
Lee
time,
Ca-
Lee Castilway, yes.
okay.
Lee Castaway, yes.
Lee Castaway, yes.
All right, so I think we got one, oh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's Christian.
All right, quit, oh, well,
Yeah, we have 7.
I think I counted it. Well, yes, okay, the count Christian. Okay, congratulations. You're on. Thank you. Okay, so I guess you can swear him in, Anson?
Yeah, I can swear him in right now. If
All right.
you want to
Please.
continue on, or you want to do a recess?
Huh?
You want to continue with the board meeting, or you want to go
Can
into
we do it in the
recess?
board meeting or do we have to do it in the recess?
Oh, we could do it anyways.
Let's do it in the board meeting.
Okay. Would you come over here?
So you
Oh,
can get your.
I'll just.
Take my mic.
You have to give it back. Yeah, we have to. Okay. Would you just copy what I say? Is that okay? For the oath of office? Okay. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and the law of the United States of America,
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Hawaii, I mean,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Hawaii,
the Charter and the law of the city and the county of Honolulu,
the charter and laws of the city and county of Honolulu,
and the provision of the neighborhood plan,
and the provision of the neighborhood plan,
and will conscientiously and impartially discharge my duties
and will conscientiously and impartially discharge my duties
to the best of my ability as a member of the neighborhood board,
to the best of my abilities as a member of the neighborhood board,
to which I have been elected or appointed.
to which I have been elected or appointed.
Okay? Now you can sit. And we'll
I
sign it.
think we have a seat for you right here. Yeah. Mm. Oh, boy, yeah, so I think do we have a full house now? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, that's right. We're missing one, Kimberly. Okay. All right.
Just information.
All right. Okay. Well, this is a big moment because we've been trying to fill this seat for, I think, a couple of years. So that's great. That Subdistrict 2 now has their second representative. Okay. Reports of members' attendance at other meetings. Have any members attended other meetings that need to be reported? Okay, there being none, now we will go to the elected officials report. Is Michael Buck on board or any representative from Governor Josh Green? Okay, I guess there being none, we will go to Department of Transportation, Highway Division, Casey Abe.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sharing my screen right now. Okay, can you see my screen
Go ahead,
here?
Casey.
Good evening, Chair Turbin, members of the Waialae Kahala Neighborhood Board, Casey Albert from the State DOT Highways Division. At last month's meeting, there was a request for additional information about the current red light program. I apologize, but I'm still working with my administration to obtaining the additional information, so will need to report back at a future meeting. At last month's meeting, there was a request for installing one of the pilot noise cameras within the neighborhood board area. Talking to the program manager, we are in the process of obtaining a consultant to help us implement this 2-year pilot program. Proposals are due by 2 p.m. on March 14, 2024 for this $2.5 million pilot program. I will provide updates of the program at future meetings. I'm glad to report that our maintenance crew covered up a lot of the graffiti along Waialae Avenue that I reported at last month's meeting. But unfortunately, when I did my field investigation this past Tuesday, I noticed there were new graffiti. So I will be working with our maintenance crew to take care of the new graffiti. Our landscape contractor were able to remove the overgrowth along the neighborhood board area since last month's meeting. And our landscape contractor also removed the overgrowth hanging from the H1 viaduct. But during my Tuesday's field investigation, I noticed some were missed. So I will work with our district maintenance office to have them removed the next time their contractor is in the area. During my January field investigation, I noticed there was a signpost without any sign near the bus stop fronting the Kahala towers. A new no parking sign has been installed. And finally, during my Tuesday field investigation, I noticed a concrete pothole slowly forming on the right-hand lane at the end of the H1 freeway going eastbound. I'm working with our Waialae District maintenance crew to repair the pothole and report back at a future meeting. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Colin, you have a question?
Andrew, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you, Casey. I live in those Kahala towers, and I didn't know what that stick was for the longest time. So thank you for fixing that.
Yeah, and thank you for removing that growth. I saw them doing that the other day, and it was hopefully it improves, the drainage throughout that time and alleviate some of that overflow that would happen on the sidewalk. But I did want to mention that the signal box on Kilauea Avenue still has the same graffiti on it. That's the one that's just Malka of the Kahala Towers entrance, right? That's the building you live in? Yeah, just above Malka of the Kahala Towers entrance. That still is continuing to get more and more graffiti on it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll follow up on that. I guess they missed some of those graffiti.
Okay, any other questions or comments from other board members? Okay, I again want to give you a thank you, Casey, because I think you saved my Okoli, so to speak, when I received a call from an angry resident about what to do about the derelict condition of the planter boxes. And I told the resident, we have been handling this problem at the neighborhood board. We passed a resolution with the help of Casey Abe from the Department of Transportation, and it's being worked on.
Yes.
So I was able to respond, positively and affirmatively to the questioning angry resident. But any new report on the planter box condition?
Yeah, the new planter box. It is we're trying to budget it for next fiscal year, which starts in July, a state fiscal year. So we're budgeting it for that year. So I'm working with our maintenance crew. So come July, we hope we can let out a contract to do the work. Unfortunately, yeah. So
okay, well, if I get another call, I will pass that information on.
Yeah, I did call the guy, the person that you referred me to, and I explained the situation. He was kind of satisfied. He just basically will wait until we do the project.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Good. He was a former chair of this board, incidentally. Yeah. Brian, go ahead.
Casey, I'm going to echo everybody by saying thank you for all that you do, first of all. Amazing things that we're doing here in our neighborhood. Question, though. The Kahala, Waialae Kahala off-ramp going east. I remember the project, we extended the lane to allow more traffic to be in that lane. And I believe at one time the plan was to have that lane extended to Coco Head, the entrance there. I was wondering if there's is that still a plan or is that not a plan? And I bring that up only because recent days, I've seen the traffic literally extend to the Coco Head exit in the lane where it's not a lane, it's just the shoulder.
Yes, the project is still ongoing. I will follow up with our design office to see what's the status. And I too have experienced that when I do my field investigation in the afternoon. So I'll follow up and give you a status next month as to when the project will be advertised.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions for Casey from residents, attendees on WebEx? Okay, well, again, thank you, Casey, for your conscientiousness. We all appreciate your hard work. Okay, next, our next elected official is Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Derek Miyashiro. You have the floor, Derek. Thank you again for coming.
Good evening, Chair, board members. So just a couple highlights. As you know, the mayor has a newsletter. This month in that newsletter, you can read about how some of our first responders who were attending a city council hearing jumped into action to assist with a medical incident that was occurring with one of the testifiers. There's also an article about a new sculpture at Honolulu's Inha Park and about authentic hula show that's preparing to debut at the Waikiki Shell. So it's really a pretty good issue this month. I would highly suggest you guys take a look. You can find it on the mayor's webpage. Also, the Neighborhood Commission Office is still hiring neighborhood board assistants to engage in public awareness for community support. Anyone who's interested can submit their resume at nco@honolulu.gov or call the NCO office at 808-768-3710. The Honolulu Zoo has been nominated for Best Zoo in America by USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Award. But the zoo needs all of us. There is a voting period that's taking place, started February 5th. It goes on for 28 days. Any member of the public can vote for our zoo. You can vote once a day for that 4-week period. To vote, just go to the Honolulu Zoo's webpage. There's a link that you can access. So that's at www.honoluluzoo.org. In addition, there was a constituent who had, she's part of a volunteer organization that cleans up, I think, the coastal area near Waialae Cliff Park. She asked if there was a possibility of having a bathroom installed close by. That inquiry was submitted to our Parks and Recreation Department and our Facility Maintenance Department. Unfortunately, there's no plans to construct a comfort station at Waialae Cliff Beach Park, and the nearest bathroom facility is at Kapulani Regional Park. I did email that resident this afternoon when I got that information. I'm not sure if she's online or otherwise listening, but we did communicate that to her this afternoon. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to.
Any questions from board members for Derek? Any questions? All right, any questions from residents and people on WebEx? Okay, I guess not. Derek, will you be kind of hanging around here? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we might need you later on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, very happy to have Council Chair Tommy Waters here. Thank you for coming, Tommy.
Of course. Hello, Chair, board members. A couple of things. I just want to encourage you all to vote as well for the Honolulu Zoo. We're currently 4th when you vote, they'll tell you exactly where you are on this. And if you haven't been to the zoo recently, you got to go check it out because they've made really, really good improvements. I used to go there when I was a kid, and then when I had children, I would go and experience it. But it's even better now. Couple of things. The Planning Commission is currently taking testimony on the primary urban core development plan. Their hearing is on March 20th, 2024. Apparently the November hearing was canceled. They continued it till the 24th of March. So I know this board has expressed their concerns about the development plan. So that's your opportunity to weigh in at that level. If it is approved by the Planning Commission, they then transmit it through DPP to the City Council. So you have another opportunity to submit your comments or concerns or suggestions to the Honolulu City Council. And I believe that'll be going to our Planning Committee chaired by Esther Kia'aina. So once again, the primary urban core, which is, we do that every 10 years. So it's your opportunity, and it's the guiding document for growth in the primary urban core. Next, I'd like to talk about Resolution 24-12 CD1 that the Honolulu City Council heard recently. Basically, remember there was that active shooter who shot his girlfriend on the freeway, and then ultimately he led the police on a manhunt all across the island. Well, I got complaints from folks who were concerned that they didn't know that this was going on. One gentleman went out for brunch and came home with his 2 kids, and he would not have gone home. Remember when he held up someone by gunpoint in a neighborhood on the windward side? And he had just missed it. And he has 2 kids. And we hear about it on the mainland all the time where guys hop into these cars and drive away. But the idea, and another one, I got another complaint where a gentleman's mom took a bullet to her car. So yeah, and I have kids myself. Had I known that this was going on, I would have called my family and said, get home, stay at the house, right? HP reported the initial shooting as an assault. They didn't report it as a shooting, right? And then that was like after the fact, an hour or so after the fact. The idea here, and the media had contacted me. They wanted reports on what's going on. Because honestly, we asked HPD to do so. They just gave that timely information to the media. Let the media get the word out to all of us. And again, when we had a hearing of this, interestingly, the chief came and testified, and I don't disagree with the chief often, but one of the things that he said was that they don't want to give out that information because they don't want people to run towards the event. I get that. But that same logic was used on Maui when they said they weren't going to ring the sirens because people are going to run towards the fire. I think most people, probably closer to, most people, I'll just say, would do the right thing. You need to stay home. You're walking your dog. If you knew that this person, by the way, they drove right through our neighborhoods here, right? You would have stayed home. Put your dog in the house. Anyway, ultimately, the chief agreed to work with the media to figure out a better solution to getting the word out. Next, I wanted to talk about Resolution 23-162 CD1. The City Council passed a resolution creating a charter amendment that to vote on, creating a climate resiliency fund. Due to sea level rise, we're going to end up having to do a lot of work on our infrastructure, right? Not just our roads, but our sewers, our stormwater what would you call it? Stormwater drainage systems, right? All of that is being impacted. We're seeing these sinkholes happen in Kaka'ako because the water's now coming up the drainage systems and the roads are collapsing. So what we want to do here is dedicate portion of your is not a new property tax. I want to make it very, very clear. It's not a new tax. It's taking a portion of the property tax that you're already paying and put that towards a resiliency fund that the environmental services and facility maintenance department can use. And it's specifically for infrastructure improvements. And by the way, this is going to create jobs for our construction industry as well, because as you know, look at just on the east side in Kahala area where the road is literally falling into the ocean. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We gotta start preparing now. And this, I'm looking at it, and by the way, it amounts to about $8 million a year, right? What we're talking about here, it's half of 1%. Half of 1%, which equals about $8 million. We need to start saving that money because sea level rise and climate change is happening. So we should start preparing for it. Part of it could be used in Waikiki and in Kahala and other places as well, but it's for island-wide. Next, I wanted to talk about, and by the way, you folks can stop me anytime. Otherwise, I'll stay up here all night. Resolution 24-9 CD1. It was a 201H project, an affordable housing project on the bottom of Waialae Road, right in the city of Hawaii. I'm in and St. Louis Neighborhood Board was very vocal about it. And I just want to explain my position. I supported it. It's not the best place to build a building there, right? Because that's right as get onto the freeway at the bottom of Waialae Road. You know, they have that entrance to the bottom of UH. It's right across the street there. And I kind of gave the developer a hard time on why they're doing it there. But ultimately, they're building it at 60% AMI and below. 60% of the area median income you have to make or below to qualify for this. And there's not too many developers actually building at 60% AMI. So ultimately, you know, I supported the project and it passed through the city council. And I want to get more developers to build more affordable housing. I don't have the numbers for you tonight. I was just looking at them earlier today. I should have brought it. But to explain what kind of vocations actually make 60% AMI and below. It's like your auto mechanics. It's really like working class people. We really need to start building more at 30% AMI, right? That's almost impossible to build without subsidies. There's this low income housing tax credit that the federal government gives the state and the counties. And the good news is, in talking to our federal delegation, that there's a current bill in Congress that would increase the LIHTC financing, which is great. Because here in Hawaii, we use every single penny that is given to us. Other states don't do it. But there's probably about, what I was told by the Hawaii HHFDC, Hawaii Housing Authority, that we get about 30 applicants per year for this LIHTC financing fund, and we can only approve 5 a year, right? Which is terrible. So this bill, and I personally contacted Mazie Hirona and Brian Schatz and said, please support this bill. It passed the House already, unbelievably, and now it's at the Senate. So, you know, we got a chance to get more of these projects. I always use this, and you folks probably heard it already, but I have to say it again. You know, I'm the 5th of 6 kids. We were all born and raised right here in Honolulu, and I'm the only one left, right? I'm the only one left. None of my siblings can afford to live here anymore. And it scares me to death to think that my kids aren't going to have a place to live. So we need to build more affordable housing. Real quick, I had a comment on the pilot project on dealing with noise. I know you mentioned you live at Kahala Towers. I used to live at Kahala Towers. So I would suggest Waialae Avenue underneath the freeway. That'd be a perfect spot. You guys heard the motorcycles and the mopeds, right? Terrible, terrible. And super noisy. And then lastly, we're about to enter into the budget process at the city level. So it's our opportunity, your opportunity through your council member to make suggestions on capital improvement projects that you'd like to see done. And I'm happy to work with you folks to get that into the budget this upcoming year. So if you folks have any suggestions, please let me know. Happy to work with you. And that's it for now, and I'm available for questions. Thank you, Chair.
Chair Waters, I know you championed, or I guess our board has in the past had asked you to look into the helicopters and the low-flying aircrafts over the freeway around our neighborhoods. And I guess I've been getting recent complaints from my neighbors about the extended hours that we've been hearing low-flying helicopters as well as airplanes, as early as 5 in the morning until as late as 11 at night, and I'm not sure what they are as a military training or whatnot, but I implore you to kind of investigate that again, because that has been a concern from some of my community.
Thank you.
I would
Thank
like
you
to second
bringing
that as
up.
well, just on a personal base. I live right next to Rich Turbin, and Rich, I don't know if you hear him all day long, but every 15 to 20 minutes, just a new helicopter flying overhead, way too low. The noise is it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And I understand that people will come here, they spend good money, we get good taxes from them going on these helicopter tours, but at some point, we have to realize that there are people that live here. We live here. And if we could strike, I think, a better balance, that would be appreciated, especially for private companies benefiting off of our views and our land.
I appreciate that for both of you. I live on Cocoa Head Avenue, right up the street, and they're supposed to be, I think, 1,500 feet. It'd be great if we could increase that to double that, right? Because the higher they are, you can't hear them. But actually, we got someone who knows. You said 500? Because I got to tell you, when they come over the ridge where I live, I can almost see the pilot. They're that close. And when you get the Ospreys, for the most part, it seems like it's the military helicopters more than the tours. But I could be wrong. But the ones that I noticed, especially late at night, are the military. Unfortunately, I cannot legislate it. But what I can do is introduce a resolution asking our federal delegation to do that, to regulate it. And if I do that, please come testify. And that way I can show our federal delegation that this really is a problem. I know that Ed Case, I think he did introduce legislation.
Yeah, it's Representative Case's assistant present, because I know she emailed me and she wanted to, you are?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I know Representative Case has been working on this in Congress. Any progress?
So yes, this is definitely something that's been brought to his attention by the community. I would be more than happy to report back with a full response on his actions regarding this. But our office here in Honolulu is definitely very aware of, the noise complaints and just general concern over tourist and military helicopters.
Yeah, I know Representative Case said that he was very annoyed with all the helicopter noise when he started campaigning, going door to door. And he had difficulty communicating with the constituents because of all the helicopter noise during the day. We did have a subcommittee, newer members of the board. Peter Dudgeon was chairing it, I believe. We had several meetings over the years, and the problem was the Civil Aeronautics Board has has the jurisdiction. Though the feds kind of have jurisdiction of the problem. The only thing we came up with that local legislators could do, or the state could do, is limit the number of helicopter takeoff points at Honolulu Airport and have a lottery. Have a lottery. So, because there's such a proliferation of the helicopter businesses that, the airport can't accommodate all of them.
I'll rekindle that argument and start advocating more. What I did learn though is that when they take off from either the military bases or from the airport, they have to stay out offshore until they get the Diamond Head and then they turn inward. That's why our community where we live is getting the brunt of it. They're going right over Diamond Head, over Kahala, over Kaimaki to the windward side. So one of the things that maybe if Congressman, his representative is listening, call up the general, call up the admiral, say, brother, or sister, as the case may be, can you or change their routes? It's probably more expensive than gas, but go around Makapu and when you get to the military base, because if you've ever experienced those ospreys, it's loud. My house shakes. So I know what you're saying. It's terrible.
And if they can do something about the time, I guess it's not necessarily just the noise, but the time of day, right? I think we're what I've been hearing is from and then what I've experienced is from 5 a.m. to 11 at night. That's you're not allowed to make that kind of noise regardless of according to city, regulations, right? So it's something we should investigate as well.
Thank you.
This is John White. I was part of
on?
the subcommittee
John,
years
just a
ago.
second,
And
Peter Dudgeon has the floor. We'll get right to you. Okay?
Hi, Mr. Council Chair. He meant to say the FAA, not the Civil Aeronautics Board, which died in 1980. But the FAA has those two responsibilities, one to promote aviation and one to watch over it. And so they sometimes can't decide where they are. And so I think that what's going on is the FAA, the helicopter industry have kind of worked out things more to their advantage than to ours. And I have no idea of how you find that out or even penetrate it. But there it is.
John, you had a question?
yes, I was on that subcommittee a couple of years ago. I recommend who's ever interested in this to download a app on your smartphone called Flight Radar 24. There's a free version and then there's one that's a couple dollars. And it shows you all the vehicle flights going by your area. You can click on a plane, helicopter. It will tell you the owner, the serial number, the altitude, and the route. And you're right, 1,500 feet over land is the minimum for them. But even when they're just offshore and they're flying at 900 feet, it's very loud. And we hit a roadblock with the FAA, like previous people said, they regulate it. And Ed Case tried to get some help in that area, but we still have the issue.
Thank you. So, yeah, Brian, you have a question?
A separate topic.
Yeah.
Your Waters, real quick, I guess you shared about the property tax portion for the resiliency fund that might be coming up. I wanted to know if you're familiar with, or if you have any information about the program. I'll call it a program about a couple of years ago that was shared about an additional tax, if you will, to provide funds for these sewer drainage and such, and it was based on the green space on on people's properties and business properties. If that's still alive, or where that might be.
There's this. It's called the stormwater utility fee. Stormwater utility fee, where people would be charged based on how much cement they have on their property. Me and the mayor have been talking about that. The director of environmental services has been talking about that. But what I've told them is before the council will consider this, that especially the director of environmental services has to do a better job of coming out and explaining this to the community. Because I remember very vividly, I wasn't on the council at the time, but when there was a $5 or $10 fee for garbage pickup, people got really, really upset. So I'm reluctant to do that right now until there's been a really good education component to this to let people know what's going on. One of the things that they had talked about was giving folks a tax break to make it, yes, cost neutral, but I didn't really buy that, right? I didn't see how that works. But I will tell you folks this, our infrastructure is aging. Now we got to figure out a way to get that not wastewater, it's stormwater back into the aquifers. And right now it's all going to the ocean. And to me, I mean, that's a safe thing to do. We want to make sure our roads are clear. At the same time, we got to get that water into the aquifers. But it's still alive. But again, I'd like to see a better educational component to this so that, if I stick my neck out on this, it's not going to get chopped off.
Pedro, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Chair Waters. One of the things, we were talking about noise and the like. One of the things that I've gotten complaints about are leaf blowers. So there is a great amount in our area, as you're very familiar, because there's these large green spaces that it seems like every day for hours at a time, there's people working on those leaf blowers. I'm with the American Lung Association, so one of our big concerns is the toxicity for the workers that are working the leaf blowers. The noise that it produces obviously is distressful too, but also the pollution that it puts out. There's been several reports that leaf blowers produce a great amount of pollution because they combine oil and gasoline as exhaust. So what some counties have done across the nation is to start obviously with their city and county workers in eliminating the use of gas-powered leaf blowers, and then providing incentives for individuals and communities and et cetera to be able to do the same. Any thought that we might be able to do that in the near future?
Yeah, well, I wasn't aware that the pollution was caused by the burning of fossil fuels, but it makes total sense now that you brought it up. I did get a bunch of complaints a few years back about the noise, especially in the Kahala area. I'm happy to revisit that. And if we do introduce legislation again, I'll let you folks know and then come out and testify for it.
Yeah, Tommy, I have a question, if I might ask. Several meetings ago, we had the Complete Streets person here, and who was arguing very heavily for turning Kilauea virtually, most of it except in front of Kahala Mall, into just 2 lanes, 1 lane going both ways. We haven't voted on it, but I think at one point you did express disapproval regarding the plan. I did ask the lady who came, I said, well, who makes the decision? Does the mayor make the decision on this? Does the city council make the decision on it? And in my view, arrogantly said, no, we do. We decide, and this is what we want. I did mention that to the mayor, and the mayor was not happy about that comment. How do you feel about it at this point? And are you expressing any opinion on it?
Well, I grew up in the area, right? And my initial thoughts is ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But there is, especially along Kahala Mall and across from the elementary school, right? I don't see a problem with how it currently is. Down Kilauea Avenue, closer to the intermediate school, I think that part could work, right? They want to build sidewalks there for the kids. Love that portion. But the area near the mall, I don't see a problem. And everybody, virtually everybody I've talked to about it has said the same thing. And by the way, I saw you on the news. And I think most people agree with you. But I've also, not a but, and I've also expressed my concerns to the Director of Department of Transportation Services and the gal who's in charge of Complete Streets. And at this point, it's still in the planning stages, right? It's not a done deal. I do want to say that they want to do it when they repave the road, and they're not going to repave the road for a few years. So they're already talking about it. But again, I advocate for what the community wants. And it's just, to me, it's common sense. I don't think it's necessary. Why spend the money on that portion? Spend it on where we need it, down the road where we need the sidewalks.
Well, I mean, it seems to work very well, and Kilauea is, outside of Waialae Avenue is the main thoroughfare for Kahala, and we have, especially in the afternoon, especially Friday afternoon, we have so many Hawaii Kai, Haina residents that come off the freeway at Kahala to do their shopping and do their eating, and and to turn Kilauea into one-lane road each direction is going to create a lot of frustration and traffic jams.
Yeah,
and also all the exits, the ingresses and the exits. There's like 6 of them into Kahala Mall. There's you go across the street. You have the elementary school. I just see it creating a lot of problems.
I know for a fact people who live in the other part of my district, from Hawaii Kai all the way through to probably Hawaii Lower Ridge and where you live, sir, that if the freeway is congested, a lot of people take the Kahala off-ramp and go through Kahala and the Alawai to get to downtown.
Right.
So, yeah, it's, again, and why fix it?
Yeah.
I noticed on your calendar, though, are they giving a presentation tonight?
No. It's what they gave it last month, 1 month or 2 months ago. The other bugaboo, by the way, is the downtown, where they took that lane off of Alakea, going to the freeway at the end of, at the early evening, the commuter traffic going home. We are going nuts now in Pacific Guardian Center and the Davies Pacific Center. We can't get out of our parking garages between 4:30 and 6 o'clock. It's really awful, and nobody's ever seen a bike on that bike lane, which goes up only like 200 yards from Ala Moana to Hotel Street. So they put in a nonsensical bike lane took away a lane of traffic without telling anybody. And now we can't get out of the parking garages. I mean, this is really bad for our economy, and everybody's bitching to me about it. It really would, I mean, that's really important. We have hundreds, if not thousands of people working in those parking garages who can't exit because of a non-used bike lane. It's insanity to have that.
I'll come by after work one day and see for myself and take pictures and send it to the Director of Department of Transportation. Picture says 1,000 words.
I complained to the lady, and she just basically said, so sorry, so bad, so sad, but we wanted a bike lane.
Well, there's a strong push to get people out of their cars and into, bicycles and other modes of transportation. But like you said, if you haven't seen anybody ride the bike, then
Some of us have. They have this complete street program, which is probably a good generic idea, but they're applying it to specific areas without doing any analysis, like Alacare and even down here. There's another program called Safe School Transportation, something like that. Now, if they use
Safe Route
something
to
like
School,
that to
yeah.
make the argument of some changes, I think we'd all be more open to listening, but I tried to talk to her. She interrupted me, several times. So filibustered us. I mean, he just filibustered us. It's, my way or the highway. I'm the boss. Not Tommy Waters, not Mayor Blangiardi. It's she should run for office. She's not old enough.
No, thank you.
Just
one
for the
thing that-
record, I'm not sure if that all of us felt in that same way, that was the arrangement. I thought she was very polite and answered a lot of questions, but I think that we just have a difference of opinion.
Well, we do want to get people out of cars, that's for sure. But one of the things that the Complete Streets really concerned me was when they're removing crosswalks and they're just blackening them out, right? And to me, it made it more dangerous. And the idea behind that is that it makes people more alert when they're crossing the street. And I thought, oh my God, that's so scary, right? You're going to run across the street and be more alert. And, I tried to get a couple, especially like on Kapahula Avenue, to get a couple crosswalks, at least with the blinking light. But they do their own studies, and it has to have a certain amount of people cross the street in order to get one of those blinking lights. And Kapahula Avenue, you can see what I'm saying. Like, have you ever tried crossing Kapahula Avenue? It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. And there's other places like that on King Street and other areas that in my mind, don't make sense. But
I
I'll
noticed
continue to
today
be your advocate.
they eliminated a crosswalk at Vineyard and Queen Emma, where Alakea turns into Queen Emma. They eliminated a crosswalk there. Like, oh my God. I mean, how dangerous. They made that street far more dangerous.
Hey, I was gonna make, but people are speeding and going really fast. I was gonna make these signs to slow down. If any of you are willing to put that in your yards, please let me know. We've been having a lot of, traffic accidents, and we want to make sure that people drive safe. But anyway, thank you, board.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you very much. Any more questions from board members or residents, attendees? Okay, thank you very much for coming, Tommy. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay. Bert Kobayashi, is he present? Okay, not being present. Representative Mark Hashem, is he present? Senator Stanley Chang usually has a representative.
Hi, I'm
No.
here as a representative for Standing Shane. My name's Marley
Okay.
Mason. I'm an intern for the office, so I just had a couple of updates.
Go ahead
I'll
and
post
talk loud,
everything.
please.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I will post all the links in the chat that I'll talk about, but just some overall notes. You can find the February newsletter on Senator Chang's website, and I'll send the link in the chat. And also, he has a housing newsletter if you're interested in signing up for that one. And Senator Chang is the chair of the Housing Committee this legislative session, and so far has had 6 hearings, and you can find an ongoing list of standing committee hearings in the link that I will also paste in the chat. And then we're in the thick of the rainy season, and the DCCA Insurance Division would like to remind homeowners to review your flood insurance coverage. Most standard homeowners and renters insurance policies do not cover flood damage. Flood insurance coverages can be purchased separately from the National Flood Insurance Program or endorsed onto the policy to supplement a policyholder's homeowner's insurance. And consumers interested in this would need to keep in mind that there's a 30-day waiting period, and to learn more, I will paste a link in the chat that you can visit, or you can also talk with your insurance agent. And then to help you shop and compare, the Hawaii Insurance Division annually publishes its premium comparison guides, which I will also paste in the chat. And then just another update is that capital improvement funding is secured for 4 facilities in the East Oahu region. So Leahi Hospital will receive $497 to upgrade their ACs and relocate their adult daycare program. The Diamond Head State Monument Park will receive $2 million for rockfall and flood mitigation. The Berkheimer Emergency Operations Center will receive $5 million for various upgrades, and the Special Education Center of Hawaii will receive $100,000 to remodel their dining room area for students. And so here's the links for everything I talked about. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to take them back to the senator.
Any questions to take back to the senator?
I have,
Pedro?
just, Marley, thank you for joining us. At the last meeting, we had those volunteers that are working at Diamond Head. I reached out to Senator Stanley Chang's office and Representative Hashim's office and Representative Kobayashi's office to see what support they could lend. Senator Stanley Chang's office responded fairly quickly and arranged a meeting with those volunteers to be able to address their concerns. So thank you so much to his office and thank you folks and the staff.
Anything else to bring back to Senator Chang? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Marty. Appreciate you being here. Okay, residents' community concerns. Any residents' community concerns tonight?
Yes. This is
Okay.
Carol Hosko.
And who is this?
This is Carol Hosko.
Oh, hi. Hi, Carol.
Hello. Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and honored guests. I don't have any slides to show to you tonight about the Culinary Institute, but I can tell you that things are moving along. But I did want to announce that Roy Yamaguchi was selected as the new executive director for the Culinary Institute. And I've spoken with him, and he is interested in attending a board meeting at some point, so he'll be able to talk with you and give you some updates. The second item is I wanted to let you know that next week on the 22nd and the 23rd of February, there's going to be a career and technical education expo at our campus in conjunction with PhotoCon Hawaii. So there'll be photography, videography, seminars, as well as features about our current technical education programs. And for information, I'll put something in the chat that will direct you to a site that will let you know how to come to that. But, we do want community members to start feeling more welcome on the campus. So please do come if you can. That's between 9 and noon on those 2 days. And that's it.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, tell Roy Yamaguchi would love to have him give a presentation here. So let us know when he wants to come, and he doesn't have to bring any poo-poos with him.
Okay, I will
maybe
let
he
him
does.
know. Thank you.
Questions? Any other residents' concerns? Okay, all right, there's somebody else. Noella, please go ahead.
Yes, good evening, neighborhood board and everybody here. I came to the meeting late because I just got done working, but you may have already spoken about it, and forgive me if I'm being redundant, but just coming off Waialae freeway, coming off on the freeway and seeing that house with, that big old house, it's not finished and stuff. I once again, I claim ignorance. I don't get to attend these meetings as much as I'd like to, but that's still, a problem coming off the Waialae exit. The construction house, there's graffiti there now. And so, with all due respect, Pono, what's going on with that?
Well, I think that would be, you probably need to make a complaint to the building department, to the city building department and ask them to do an inspection. I can't think of any other, other way to handle it. We certainly don't handle problems of neighbors versus neighbors. That's not our function. Our function is to give the opportunity to talk with and make complaints to city agencies or state agencies. So I think, let me know if I'm wrong, the way to go with that is to make a complaint or ask for information from the city building department.
That's good. Thank you for the directive, sir. But I'm somewhat surprised by that response, with all due respect, that this hasn't already come up. I mean, right when you get off of it, everybody sees that. And that's
Oh,
a,
no, I haven't heard, I haven't heard of that complaint before.
oh,
Not
okay,
that
fine.
it's,
All right. That's cool.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Chair Member Peter Dudgeon agrees that it's ugly. I'm sure others agree that it's ugly, but
What
I
can we
think,
do as a community to be able to, facilitate what you have just outlined in your, good suggestion slash directive? What can the neighborhood board do in this respect? Or is that just out of bounds?
well, I'll just ask Derek, our, Representative Derek Mayashiro, the city's representative, mayor's representative, do you have any suggestions on how to handle that?
I think maybe what we can do is if the neighborhood board assistant Anson could make a notation in our OneView system, and we can contact our Department of Planning and Permitting to see if there's any permit violations or anything that can be done. Is there an address of the particular structure, house, residence?
At this time, I do not have the address. My name, it's Noella. It's right when you come off the freeway, and from what it appears, it's from a side street after you take the first right and you come down, because it's apparently a dead end road, and it sits right there coming off the Waialae exit. You can see it. There's graffiti written on all over it, and it's been sitting there for a while now. So I don't know if people are staying there, but it's not completed. But it's very, and once again, I apologize. I do not have the address, but I will get it to you if you wish. But it's not hard to see. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, see if you can get the address.
Okay, very good.
And, perhaps, Derek can check with the Department of Planning and Permitting. You can probably call the Department of Planning and Permitting too and
Yeah, but it
request
always helps,
information.
Rick. I've lived here for
I
over
know.
70
Well,
years. That, it's safety in numbers, and the neighborhood board, we should be watching out for things like that. And,
If you can, we can,
yeah, but
yeah,
I'll
we
help
can,
out. Yeah.
if you want to present the resolution to us, if you can get us the address and present the resolution to the board, we can put it on the agenda and see if we can pass a resolution
Okay.
and send it off to the city. But that's the most we can do, okay?
Got it.
Because we don't have any enforcement abilities. Okay,
right,
we're
great.
kind of a
Thank you so
complaint
much.
agency. All right,
Mahalo.
thank you.
Oh, wait, actually,
Thank you.
Noella, if you could find out, can you just send me a text of your email, and I'll just email you tomorrow, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
And
That's
that,
great.
and that's Anson Wu who's talking to you, and he is our assistant. He is our neighborhood board assistant. It's very efficient.
Mr. Wu,
Thank
would you
you.
be so kind as to put your email in the text, please, in the chat?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'll do that too.
Thank you very
Okay,
much. I
thank-
appreciate it. I don't mean to take up so much time, but
Thank you,
I
Noella.
just happened to notice it, I've noticed it for,
I know.
gosh,
We
over
wanna-
2 years now. But anyway, there you
No,
have
we
it.
need to
Thank you
move
so
on,
much.
but thank you, Noella, for bringing
You're
this up.
very, very welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else, any other neighborhood? We don't want to shut down residents' concerns. Okay, nobody else? Okay, well, let's move on then. The board business, the approval of Thursday, January 18th, 2023 minutes. Now, I want to apologize. There were some screw-ups with the agenda. And the reason for that is I was babysitting my grandson in Texas when I was working on the agenda, and I was kind of going back and forth with my office. And and there were a couple of mistakes that were made, so I apologize for that. So please, it's if you can change your agenda, it's the approval of the Thursday, January 18th, 2023, no, 2024 minutes, not November of 2023.
Oh, Chair.
I think Sylvia made a couple of changes. Anson, you did a good job doing those minutes. It was
Yeah, can I just suggest we should just postpone it to the next month's agenda?
Sure, okay.
Because people they still need to know and
Right,
that
okay, I
it
think
has to be
that's a good
correct.
idea. So next month, we'll do both January 18th and February 15th.
I'll just put it postpone to the next agenda. Is that okay?
Okay, should we postpone the February 15th minutes to the next meeting or? Yeah, no, I know. All right, I'm just saying for the agenda.
Oh, yeah. We
I'll
could just
put
put
both on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what I meant. Okay, thank you, Anson, good idea. Okay, the $1,000 one-time fund for outreach, nothing, anything new on that, Brian?
Yes, Rich, the newest is, got approval, for using the $1,000. I was in touch with, Jackson Coley at the NCO. So basically it's in line with what we're planning to do to try and, have outreach with our community. So we're going to be getting these, little first aid kits, Kahala neighborhood boards. It's going to be printed on them, and they would be used to, as handouts to the communities that would come up as wherever we might set up a table to share about what we do and how they can get involved with supporting their community.
Great, okay.
The open item is finding the venue for us to set up a table.
Okay, all right, so that's a good, thank you, that's a good follow-up. We'll just follow up and check with Kahala Mall first. One of us can do that.
We did check with Kahala Mall, so they're not open to the idea. So what they had asked us was to work to see if we could put ourselves into one of the fairs. The fairs don't have any particular date or time, or if they'll be coming back into Kahala Mall. Kahala Mall refuses to give us just our own time.
Well, do we want to go across the street or do you want to kind of? do?
We certainly can take a look at others, other venues besides Kahala Mall. Originally Kahala Mall was suggested as a primary. We also shared that perhaps we could be at a farmer's market, or we could be at a community event at a park, or something like that. So we'll take a look at some other ideas just to reach out to the community to have more involvement.
Maybe KCC, maybe the KCC Farmers Market.
We could look at.
Yeah, Carol might help with that. Carol Hashiko. Okay, well, thank you very much, members, for working on that. We'll keep it on the agenda. Alternative venues for neighborhood board meetings. I think we could probably take that off the agenda. Okay, road closures. I think nothing new on that. Sylvia, anything new on that? Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to new business. Now we did have the complaint about the too many weddings or the unregulated weddings on Kahala Beach. We talked about presenting a resolution. I think somebody, maybe it was somebody from Chair Waters' office who suggested that. I took a stab at drafting a resolution today regarding the regulating weddings on Kahala Beach. If a member wants to, would like to move to consider the resolution, we can consider the resolution.
Chair Durbin, I would like to say that because on the agenda it doesn't say specifically there is a resolution, I suggest we should also postpone that because it needs to be specific on the agenda what's going to be said, because this is
The agenda did say beach weddings on Kahala Beach resolution presented. Specific enough?
No. Yeah,
It's
this was
nothing.
the original copy. That's why. This was the copy that your secretary sent me before she sent me the updated version. So I send out the old one.
But can we discuss it either way?
Huh? Oh, you could just
Put it off to next.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
just can't vote on the resolution.
Oh yeah, you can
Yeah.
talk about it, but you can't like vote.
Correct. So Hanson, the one I have, I'm sorry, the one I have is not the one that was sent out.
Yeah.
It was, okay, the draft.
It was the older draft. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so
I-
just not, sorry, Paul.
No, for sure. But Chair Waters, I just wanted to make sure that, even you, Mr. Turpin, I want to make sure that we are, making this resolution to be a part of the existing resolution that, encompasses the Waimanalo Beach Parks as well. And if you could help us, give us some information on that so we can make sure we're being, part of it instead of trying to make a whole new bill and as well, right? I think we want to be joining that current existing bill that is now governing the Waimanalo and I think other existing beach parks on wetting regulations of current public beaches. Can you help us with that?
Yeah, sure. I would have to introduce a completely new bill, but I would amend the existing ordinance. So the existing ordinance, which is already passed, right, the bill that already passed, would outlaw or prohibit weddings in my colleague Esther Kia'aina's district. And I had a feeling that this was going to happen, that once you start that, the wedding industry is going to move. And sure enough, they have. So I'm happy to add that on as well to Kahala Beach, because what was happening in Waimanalo was the wedding industry was being really rude about local people who were on the beach. They're telling them to move because they're in their way to take pictures. At the same time, though, I really like to think about where we could designate a spot for people to actually have their wedding on the beach and take photos. You know, there's an open pavilion on Waikiki Beach, Pavilion 4. By the way, wedding pictures and those types of professional photographers are banned on Waikiki. But I thought if we designated a spot for them, that might solve some of the problems. But we as a community should decide where we're willing to have it. So happy to support that, by the way, for the reasons I just stated. But at the same time, if we could think about where we could support this type of thing, because sometimes local families, they get married on the beach too, right? It's not just tourists, but most local families who do it are a lot more considerate than the tourists who are coming in and pushing local people out. But it got really bad in Waimanalo where they're putting up huge tents, seating arrangements, lighting, generators, and everything like that, which is just completely unacceptable. But yeah, happy to help. But I really do want you folks to come up with a reso. That way I can go back to my council and say, guys, the community really wants this.
I think most people would, the local people would agree that Waikiki beaches would be perfectly fine to be able to move commercial activity to. Chair, what I would suggest is that we add that to the resolution, is to add the specific ordinance that we want to be inserted to and the amendments that we would like to see.
And I
So
can
that
help
way
you
it's more
folks with that.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, just to add on to what you're saying, I think, we currently have a park permitting process. And like, I think that's an amicable solution for getting those type of wedding venues, because there is an existing permitting process of utilizing the park as such for any types of park, right? I think that's what it's for.
Right. It came up earlier in the conversation of who has jurisdiction of the beach. So the city and county does when it's next to a beach park. So we have a beach park here in Kahala, so the city does have jurisdiction over that. But it gets dicey when it's, as mentioned, from the shore to the high water mark. That's DLNR, right? So, if they're just standing 3 feet one way or the other, the city can't deal with it. But as the officer pointed out, but certainly, I can see the bride and the groom in their wedding outfits not going to want to get wet. So we can have jurisdiction over that. But, I'm happy to point out, Chair will email you the actual ordinance so you can reference it in your resolution. All right.
copy. I have a copy. I could send it to your office.
Okay, great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Thank you. All right. All right. Good points. Okay. So Anson, you're gonna, I have the copy of the agenda I have was the second copy that might have not been sent out, but even though those have a few mistakes. All right, we're moving on. We'll go to unfinished business, deal in our proposal to dismantle the Diamond Head Breakwater Mackay of Doris Duke Foundation. Nobody is here to talk about that tonight, so I'll leave it on the agenda out of politeness to those who sometimes come to meetings. Tommy, I'm just sorry. Item B of unfinished business, primary urban center development plan, move to East Honolulu region. I actually got several long emails from Lucinda Piles in the last week or so. I don't know whether you got them or not, but was there any progress on what we discussed in your office where you were going to try to get designation of the residential area of Waialae, Kahala, earmarked as the lowest, the lowest density area?
So I wrote it up and transmitted it to the Planning Commission and awaiting their decision. Ultimately, like I mentioned, they can make the Planning Commission makes a recommendation to the city administration and the city council.
Mm-hmm.
So I did write up your suggestions, sent it over to the Planning Commission. They haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But again, once the Planning Commission makes their recommendations, they can either adopt those suggestions or not. Then it comes to the city council.
Gotcha.
But as we discussed, putting Kahala in the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan would be kind of difficult.
Right.
Because we have to amend the primary urban core and amend the general plan as well,
Mhm.
which every one of these plans has to go through the Planning Commission, then through the City Council. So
Now, we thought it was
interesting thing. One last comment. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chair. Now, when I believe Lucinda went out to Hawaii Kai and other communities to talk about it, it was not a warm welcome.
Yeah, I know. No, we thought you came up with a good idea, keeping us in the urban core, but at the lower density level, So I think you came up with a creative solution. So keep us posted on what.
I will. We were just talking a few minutes ago, Mayor's Rep and I, about a bill going through the legislature that would dismantle all of that and allow for more density in residential zoned areas, which I know that there's folks on the board who are on both sides of this issue. So it's important for you folks to be aware of it and testify whichever way you believe you should. But yeah, just want to alert you to that. I don't have the bill number in front of me though, sorry.
All right, thank you, Tommy. Keep us posted.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, now, question for Anson, the C, unfinished business, C, complete streets proposal for Kilauea Avenue with 2 lanes, resolution to be presented. Did that make it on
No.
the draft?
No, it just says complete the street proposal for Kilauea Avenue with 4 lanes. That's it.
Oh, and so it was a mistake.
There's no resolution.
Oh, yeah, well, I know, I corrected those mistakes.
I know.
And, but somehow or other, that first draft with the mistakes came to you, so
Yeah.
sorry about
No,
that.
it's fine.
Okay, that's okay. We'll leave it for the next meeting.
Also,
Correct it.
Julia from Ed Cases is here.
Okay, well, we have time. Julia, we have time for you. Yeah, so please go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Turbin and board members.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Julia Anushevska. I work as a staff assistant for Congressman Case here in the Honolulu office. I'm going to go ahead and post some helpful resources in the chat, and then Chair Turbin, I'll email you a copy of this as well so the board has access. As a general starting point, Congressman Case has a great website, case.house.gov, and you can find all the latest information, contact info, all of that good stuff. And then I've posted the quarterly report that details his actions both in DC and here in the district. And then our community project funding guide, which is a great resource for funding for state and local needs. And then I also wanted to highlight that our Honolulu office offers casework services. So if you folks or anyone that you know is having difficulty with an agency such as the IRS or the VA or Social Security, we can assist in those matters. And then also, I just wanted to shout out the Congressional Art Competition that's open to all high schoolers in the district, and the deadline for that is April 19th. And then I know that there was some earlier discussion about helicopter noise, airplane noise. So Congressman Case actually introduced the Safe and Quiet Skies Act, HR 1071, if anyone is interested. And so that imposes some regulations on commercial air operations and prohibits tour flights from operating at an altitude of less than 1,500 feet. And there are some other aspects in that bill as well. So I just wanted to point that out if anyone was curious. And so that's at the subcommittee on aviation. And of course, you know, if anyone has any questions or comments for Congressman Case, I can take them back to the office and report back accordingly. And I also included my personal work email as well. So if anyone wants to connect with me directly, I'd be, you know, more than happy to connect. But that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Any questions? Any questions for board members or others? Okay, well, thank you very much, and please feel free to come to any meeting that you'd like to, or have the congressman can come to any meeting that he might want to attend. Anson, let me just ask you, could she send you the emails and you could disseminate? Because I don't think I have everybody's email. Okay, did you get that?
You can send me it.
Are you still on?
Yes.
Okay, so
Awesome.
yeah, so that would be good. Okay, and send
Okay.
it to me too.
Got
I would
it.
appreciate it. Okay, we've gone through, you know, everything on my agenda that others didn't receive. Does anybody have anything to add for the good of the order? Pedro, please go ahead.
I wonder if we're going to be discussing the 4 lanes, if the representative from the Complete Streets could be here to answer any further questions that we might have. I certainly have a lot more questions as I've looked into the issue. Would like to understand more as to what was the background to be able to, for them to arrive at where they did.
Eric, could you ask her to come that we'll be considering a resolution?
We'll make the request.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Any other board members have anything else for the good of the order? Yeah, so it looks like we did it in an hour and 37 minutes. Okay, so, all right, I guess we will adjourn and see you next month. Thank you all for attending. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I stopped.